Knicks nights matinee. Have we come up with a tagline for this afternoon series yet, or are we still just rolling with Knicks nights?
So I think Knicks, when it was Knicks night, I think that might have been different. Knicks nights, I think we're okay. We are the Knicks nights.
It still works. It's totally great. Guys, we have a lot to talk about over the last week. I think some of us should have our spirits up, right? With a little 2-1 action over the last week.
Fold it out.
Dude, well, obviously, guys, I love doing this every Thursday. I think this fits pretty well right here in the afternoon. Let's jump into a little bit of the weekly recap. All right. 2-1 since we last met, right? We had that Rockets game, 116-103. We pulled that W off. Ugly, weird, uncomfortable Celtics game, 114-107. Like, I couldn't wrap my mind around that one. And then the Pistons, we pulled that one off, 105-91. Jerry.
They're not pretty games, but we'll take W's.
No, not at all. So, 3 guys I want to highlight on there, but I want your thoughts, Jerry, first, man. Overall, who's been your highlight over these 3 games?
Well, look, first and foremost, with everything going on, to go 2-1 when you're missing like half your roster,
for real,
and obviously other like signing guys off the street, you take it. I mean, it was some ugly stuff. Gotta highlight Kemba Walker. Okay, I know, I get it. Like, he was benched. Playing him out of necessity. Is plus minus in the 2 wins. I believe he was +9 against I think, or maybe it was +9 against the Celtics, and then he's like +5 against the Pistons. I mean, we have no choice. We have to play him, but he's proven to be like worthy of a rotational spot here. And now with Derrick Rose out for 8 weeks, it's almost like this is a terrible analogy.
I didn't even realize he's out for 8 weeks of surgery.
Yeah,
he had surgery.
Well, now that you brought it up,
it's a bad analogy, but you want to be careful, right? Like, this goes for guys or girls, where your friend is dating someone, maybe you don't really like that person, you don't think that's a good fit, but then they break up, and you tell your buddy or your friend, like, "Oh, I'm so glad you guys broke up because that shit wasn't going to work," and then they get back together, and that's exactly what we just saw. The Knicks and Thibodeau are back together with Kemba Walker, and now it doesn't seem like it's awkward, and if anyone can handle it, it's Kemba, but we are back together with Kemba Walker.
Well, he came, obviously came with a chip on his shoulder, right? I mean, smiling throughout every game. He's going in there, and he's like, all right, you're going to bench me? I mean, he came to prove his point. I mean, literally, when I pull up his stats, versus Celtics, he had 29 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Versus the Pistons, he went off for 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Kemba made a statement, hands down.
Yeah.
So you brought up the D Rose injury. I mean, we're talking 2 months after this ankle surgery, right?
At least.
Well, you know who's going to step up right now? Miles McBride, baby.
Yeah, in probably another 6 days when he's off COVID protocol.
First of all, can someone explain to me what the COVID, like, it feels like it's going on for a very long time. Like, how long are these guys out for with COVID protocols?
I think I don't know. I definitely don't know the absolute facts of it. I thought if, like, you were vaccinated, you could come back before the 10-day. I think it's a 10-day period of like, you officially could break quarantine after 10 days, I think. But if you're vaccinated, that could be shorter, but no one's really breaking it under 10 days.
Right.
Again,
they're
don't
also
quote
doing
me.
the
I don't know. I'm just going off what I
they're doing
read.
the factor too. If you have a fever, then you have to have 24 hours without a fever, then test to make sure it's not pulling up. So some of them are lasting 10 days. Some of them are lasting 14.
Listen,
It's crazy.
I remember we were talking last week. It was the Thursday. It was Thursday, and the game was what, Friday? The Knicks game was Friday last week.
Believe so. Yeah.
So I'm just looking at the numbers right now. We had starting lineup was Randall, Noel, Rose, Burks, Fournier. That starting lineup, everyone was minus except for Burks. Burks was +13, played an okay game, not a good game. He was 2 for 10. But Randall -9, shot 6 for 18. The bench, though, Mitch Robinson, 17 points, 9 rebounds, +21. Miles McBride, 36 minutes. The coach trusts him, which is that's a big signal. He actually played more than Quickly. Quickly played 32 minutes. McBride was 6 from 11, 6 for 11, had 15 points plus 19. Also 9 assists, 4 steals, 4 steals, guys, and no turnovers. So I, quickly also played fantastic, 24 points, plus minus 19, 4 rebounds. So, my takeaway from this, again, I try to keep a positive outlook. I'm a Knicks fan. I'm always looking for the positive. I think, D Rose has been our rock throughout the season. Unfortunately, he's going down. I think that this gives a huge opportunity to Miles McBride. I think McBride is going to step right in and actually take Rose's minutes directly. It's going to be a 1-for-1 swap. I think Kemba will get the starting nod. I think Kemba will go back to the starting lineup just because they actually need the veteran presence now without Rose. I think Tibbs needs that. So the veteran presence as the point guard, I think we see, I think we're going to see McBride potentially and quickly as the backup, 1-2. It's a smaller backcourt. Don't get me wrong. But I could see that being the 1-2 lineup and having then going back to the original starting lineup, which would be like, the Kemba lineup with Fournier, unless Fournier doesn't get the spot. I mean, listen, Fournier, if you look at his games,
he's been turning it up a little bit over the last 3.
He had 23 against Houston. He had
30 against
he
the
and Kemba
Celtics.
both played great against the Celtics. They clearly want to get them back.
22 against the Pistons. So he had a solid game. And then what did he play? He had 32 against the Celtics. So Fournier has stepped up. So I guess if Thibodeau's been saying, listen, the guys who play well are going to play the minutes. So he's not banning Kemba. He's like, Kemba played well, Kemba will play. I think that,
and also by necessity, he kind of had no choice, right? So it gave Kemba that chance to kind of be like, ha, keep me in,
That's no doubt about it. I think it's worth. So if you're asking me who the players of this, my player of the week, I'm going with Mitch Robinson. I thought Mitch Robinson played bully beast ball. Last game, the game we won versus the Pistons, I actually thought he was dominant, like a dominant presence, was completely disrupting the game. So to me, that was it was beautiful to see. Houston, he played well, led the team in plus minus, dropped, I think, what did we say, 21 points or something to that nature, or 17 points.
17.
So yeah, so Mitch is, listen, if Mitch can, we have to keep in mind here, and I tend to say this a lot about Mitch, is that he is coming off a season, he's coming off a lot of injuries, a lot of time not playing, but also he added, 30 to 40 pounds of muscle. And that changes your game a little bit. It changes your timing. It changes your jumping ability. It changes the way you block shots and go up for rebounds. So I think he was adjusting for the first quarter of the season to this new weight that he has for the first time in his career. He was a scrawny, springy dude, and now he's burly. So I think he's adjusting, and I think that now we're going to see. Some serious progress going forward.
Little unknown fun fact about Mitch Robinson that I hope Knicks fans have picked up from. I actually had this conversation this morning with the Knicks Gaming 2K League coach, Kyle Rudy. The Damian Dotson signing, which, by the way, to me was brilliant because you needed the bodies, right? And Dot is a guy who I've actually gotten to know, always keeps himself in shape, number one. And then also, he was a Knick. He and Mitch Robinson have a great rapport. They're actually really good friends from Dotson's previous stint. So I don't know if it's that much of a surprise that Dotson's there versus Detroit, and Mitchell Robinson has his maybe best game in the last year, possibly.
Tibbs is calling it his best game.
And I know it's
Tibbs
the Pistons,
publicly.
but we'll take all the wins where we can. Don't sleep on the fact that Dotson was there, and maybe if we see more good play out of Mitch, if Dotson maybe hangs around this roster just for the Mitchell Robinson, chemistry factor.
He's always a solid plug and play player. I mean, we know Dotson. We know he's a 3-and-D guy. He could come off the bench. He could play some solid defense. He could hit 3-ball jump shots. So we know he could play. I'm looking at someone in the comments saying, should we be eyeing the lottery? Like, a Thibodeau team does not eye the lottery. It just doesn't happen. So we're going to fight for the playoffs no matter what. And we're going to hopefully develop some young talent along the way. I mean, that's what we have to focus on this year. So is anybody back yet? First of all, when is the next game is what, today?
Tonight up against the Wizards, which the Wizards fell off a little bit. They're back into the 6th seed because they won 2 games in a row. I don't think their COVID situation is that bad, but Toppin cleared protocols yesterday. RJ cleared today. So I don't know what this means for, are they going to play tonight? I think Toppin would probably be more likely than RJ because RJ literally cleared today, but we'll see. I mean,
yeah,
this is actually an important game. You know, the Wizards are going to be one of those teams that we will be battling for the 6 through 8, 9. You know, we'll be battling with a team like the Wizards all year long. So if we could stack a win right here, it would be nice.
yeah. So we still got Noel, right? We got
Noel's out.
Quickly, Grimes, and Knox are all still out with COVID protocol. So I want to take a step back real quick. So back to the D Rose injury, right? Drew, you mentioned, well, obviously Kemba, McBride. Well, with McBride being gone, for me, D Rose is arguably our most important player currently. Okay. I mean, he's averaging 12 points a game, 4 assists. He's shooting 45% from the field goal. He's 40% beyond the arc. With these guys still in protocol, having no idea, who can we rely on outside of Kemba to fit that role and be that other guy? Is it going to be Fournier? Do we get RJ back tonight? If so, are we back to, hopefully RJ doing his thing?
Or it's going to have to be Quickly. And Burks is going to go 40 again, probably.
Quickly out? Yeah. Is Quickly out? Quickly's out too, though.
He is. Yep.
Oh, Quickly is not cleared yet. Oh God, that's good. Burks is going to go 40. Look, the guy we need. Let's be honest. We need Randall. We need Randall to. I don't even to put up 40, but he just needs to be efficient. He just needs to be efficient, and that's really a big key. Kemba, you don't quite know yet if you could trust him. He's getting there. You need Kemba.
I can't believe Kemba played. I'm looking at the minutes right now. Last game against the Knicks. You had Kemba playing 40 minutes of basketball.
Right, but he was off for 10 days.
Yeah, that's fine, but it's not great for guys' knees that are that old and have had some problems. Like, there's just no one. I mean, like, Selden is a joke. He should. I keep tweeting about this, and I haven't gotten a clear answer. There's a dude in our G League team. Sorry, Luka Samantic, that has just been absolutely dominating the G League team. He's not, not a guard. Obviously, he's a forward. Came out of San Antonio as a first round pick. San Antonio coach had raved about him, and he's just been. He was the player of the week a couple weeks ago, averaging 30 and 10. I've been watching some of his highlights. The kid can ball. Why has there been no word about why this kid is not being brought up?
Because that's not the position we need right now. That's out. We have forward. We have Fournier. We have Randall. Toppin's now back. We knew he was coming back. If anything, we need guards. Not any guard. We need point guards, ball handlers. And it is a far cry. Like, G League is great, and you want to see those guys putting up numbers, but you don't want to bring a guy like that up and then he has a terrible game and then you kind of ruin. Like, they're just going to let him cook down there. I don't think he's the savior just yet.
I mean, but some of these guys that are playing right now, if you look, I mean, you can't. I mean, there's no need for minutes to go to Wayne Selden. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't do anything out there. I mean, every time I've seen him play, he just kind of idles around. Listen, Dotson can play. I'm happy to have Dotson out there.
Yeah, I trust Dotson.
Yeah, I trust Dotson. I know him. I trust him. What's the deal with this guy? I don't know if you guys heard about this guy, Mooney. I heard we signed. A 10-day contract too.
Well, we signed House today too. Daniel House, who's a veteran years with the Rockets, that. Plug and play guy, 3-and-D.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he gets suited up tonight. I don't know how any of this works. Like, I think they literally signed him this morning, so I don't know if he'll be dressing tonight.
It's new for all of us, so it's like,
God,
they're
like
signing
pick up
him
when you're trying to leave, and someone's like, "Hey man, you're the 10th guy. You got to stay. You're the 10th man. If you leave, the game's over." It's like, all right, I'll play. Let's go.
I'm down to do it. All right, so real quick, let's look at who we got coming up.
Wait, sorry, just real.
Wait, go ahead.
Real quick before we move on. What did you guys think of Cade Cunningham? Like, it was like he played a terrible game. I've seen him play a couple times now. I don't know. Am I missing something? Like, what was all the hype? He was a -18 against the Knicks. Went 2 for 13.
That was a messy game in general. Like, if you really watched, and I watched that whole game, no one looked good in that first half. Then eventually the Knicks defense kind of is the thing that grinded it out, and Mitch Robinson was pretty dominant. It definitely wasn't a good game. To me, I chalked that up to look, that's just rookie stuff, like that's going to happen. Not everyone could be Evan Mobley, who hasn't really had a bad game yet, although he did have a bad game against the Lakers way back. I think Cade's fine and going to be good, but he's going to have those nights, man.
Yeah,
Definitely going to have those nights.
For them too, they're already missing some pieces, right, to go hand in hand with him,
Right.
and they also dealing with the COVID stuff,
Right.
right? They were
And
picking
their
up guys the
roster's
day
rough.
of the game.
No,
Yeah,
everything's banged up. A guy who, just to talk a little bit more about the games that we just passed, Sadiq Bey. I actually think he's a baller. I think
He
that
is.
kid- he's
No
a
argument.
really obviously also another player didn't have a great game, but Sadiq Bey can ball, dude. Like he's a guy who, like, after I'm watching him play, I went right to NBA Top Shot and I started scooping up his moments. Like the kid can ball. I think he's got some skills.
Yeah, I saw that Clay just posted that Joe Johnson signing. Is there anything more fitting for where we're at with this COVID stuff? That's like, you sign Joe Johnson, he comes walking in a jersey, ready to get buckets right away. ISO Joe, man. Like, once a bucket, always a bucket.
You know who I'm rooting for? I want to hear Jamal Crawford get off the couch.
I mean, if COVID has not given Crawford an opportunity yet, man. I mean, we saw Isaiah Thomas is now back with the Lakers. You know, I would love to see Crawford. I mean, Crawford Crawford apparently goes to like LA Fitness and will just be like, I got next. And he'll just go ball up some regular dudes like me.
Do you remember like I think it was 94, there was an April Fool's prank where Walt Frazier geared up and they took Scott Brooks' spot on the Knicks roster. And he was like, Frazier was in his 50s and like whatever, but he's geared up. Like, this is the perfect time to bring back the Walt Frazier, like some OG, like real OG player.
Okay, this is a fun new segment alert. Okay, and I'm not making light of the COVID situation. I'm just saying, if there is a retired Knick that you had to pick to fill a roster spot right now, and it's got to be someone who, like, you can't say Frazier. It's got to be someone who can actually contribute now, presently.
I got one.
It's so funny that you bring this up, Jerry. Go ahead.
Did you have that segment already,
No,
Porto?
I got something. No. I got something that's going to segue perfectly.
Oh,
with this
okay,
conversation.
good.
Go ahead, Drew.
I got one. There's people in the comments bringing out a great one. Obviously, Jeremy Lin's a real possibility. Hype the Garden up for a little bit, bring him back. He can still ball. He's still young. That's a really good one. Mine was Amari Stoudemire. I see he still plays ball. He's still out there. He's still athletic. He still plays ball. Like, just to come in with some veteran leadership, drop 12 points, get 8 rebounds. Like, I have no doubt Amari can still ball. So I think Amari would be an interesting one. But like what I'm seeing in the comments right now, I think Jeremy Lin would be a really fascinating player.
I feel like Allen Houston could hit 14-foot elbow jumpers all day, right?
He's too corporate.
He still looks like he's in phenomenal shape. A lot of the previous Knicks, like LJ, still looks like he's in great shape. Sprewell still looks like he's in great shape. But Allen Houston, that form never goes away. I still feel like you run a couple of high screen and rolls with him, and you flail him out to the elbow in that perfect jump. I feel like Allen Houston could put up 8 points in 18 minutes and not be a total liability on defense.
What about someone else bringing up J.R. Smith?
Oh, hell yeah. But I don't want J.R. Smith to stop playing golf at all. J.R. Smith needs to continue to do what he's doing, but that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a real good one.
Well, look, you got Jeremy in the chat who agrees with you, Drew. Mari said on Instagram the other day he would love to still play ball.
I think listen, he played over in Israel for a little while. I think he played in that 3-on-3. The 3-on-3 Ice Cube League. Anyone from Joe Johnson, that's where he was balling out.
Joe Johnson, Cat Mobley was always a bucket.
I got my guy, and I know that, and he needs it too. Nate Robinson. After that box,
Nate, yeah.
Well, Nate's one of my favorite players of all time. Truly, like up there with, like, he was my next generation Starks. It was like Starks for me in the 90s, and it was Nate for me in like the 2000s. Like, those are my, I don't know why, that just those guys, they play with all their heart on the court, and like I love the emotion that they bring to the team. Nate, coming after that knockout by Paul, he needs to come out here and drop some threes to remind people that he's still a ball player.
Yeah. I don't know. Give me the 6'7" guy though. Nate was so built on his athleticism, which was pound for pound the best. I just wonder, what is he, like 36 now? 37?
I don't think so.
I wonder. I did play with him 3 years ago at the Celebrity All-Star game in LA at Staples Center. And he like pinned someone's shot on the backboard. I mean, it was like watching a rocket ship take off. He just, and he like glided. It wasn't even like maximum effort, but yeah. those are good ones. I don't know. I want to see Allen Houston take some 14-foot jump shots.
Yep. I hear you. All right, Jigga, what you got for us, brother?
Well, it's great because you couldn't plan this any better, but I came up with this segment for you two today. All right. So you're going to rank them top 5. All right. I'll start with you, Jerry. Here's your options. Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, John Starks, Derek Harper, RJ Barrett. What's your order?
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to go 5-1. I got to put RJ 5 just because he's not there yet. I do think RJ will eventually get there. Okay, I go RJ 5, Derek Harper 4. Oh, Sprewell and Houston I love so much. I'm going to go Sprewell 3, Houston 2, Starks 1. But you could flip-flop that Houston Sprewell thing.
You don't have to even ask me. I'd say the same thing.
Perfect. All right,
man, that's I love seeing those faces.
I know. I mean, Starks was my clear number 1. I agree. Houston Sprewell could flip, but the Houston that shot against Miami, that tips the edge for me. Derek Harper is an underrated basketball player.
Derek Harper in the JoJo English fight in the Bulls. I think that was the 90. That was the year we got to the finals and lost to the Rockets. 94.
Yep.
Derek Harper was the piece that put that 94 team from really good and he really was the stabilizing presence that we needed.
We had a rookie point guard, Charlie Ward, coming out of.
I don't think Charlie Ward was on that team. I think it was Greg Anthony, and I think it was Doc Rivers.
Yep, you're right.
Then Derek Harper came in to kind of stabilize the backcourt and became the starting point guard.
You're right. So when was
Charlie Ward? Maybe he was on the roster as like a DNP, or he might have been the year. I'll look that up while we talk, but I don't know if Charlie Ward.
Right, I know Greg Anthony was definitely. Greg Anthony was the early 90s, so he was probably 92.
So he was drafted 94, 26th overall. So I don't know if he was getting minutes just yet.
No, but he was the young point guard learning from D. Harper at that time. But you're right, probably Greg Anthony or Doc Rivers. I thought Doc was gone by then. Doc was not on that team. He was gone by that point. I think it was Greg Anthony who was.
But I think that was part of the trade. I think that was part of the issue of why they needed Derek Harper. Was because of the point guard situation.
No doubt.
I'm looking it up right now. That was 93, 94, right? Yes.
All right. So you heard it, Knights. We need to start hashtag bring Allen Houston back.
Nope. Doc Rivers was there. Greg Anthony was there. Hubert Davis, obviously. Yeah, I don't see Charlie Ward. I just think maybe he was just like not fully ready to go yet, or maybe he was 94 draft, so he wasn't on the team. That was the 93-94 season.
Was that the
so he was drafted after the finals in 94.
Okay, got it.
Makes sense.
Yep.
All right, so here I'm gonna bring up another one. I'll start with you, Drew. Here's your options.
Yep.
Mitch Robinson, Bill Cartwright, Patrick Ewing, Marcus Camby, and Amari Stoudemire.
Wow. All right, I'm going to go with Ewing. I'm going to go with Amari. Then I'm going to go with Camby, then Cartwright, then Mitch.
That's 1 through 5, right?
Yeah.
Pat was first. Come on.
Let me see that list again. Okay. Yep. Okay, going 5-1. I'm going Mitch 5, same thing, rookie bias. Cartwright 4, although don't rule out he played good with the Knicks, and they traded him for Charles Oakley. So Cartwright was the asset that brought Charles Oakley to us. This might cause a little stir. I got Amari 3. Love Amari, but bottom line is Camby was a big part of that 99 finals run. Huge part. So I got him 2.
Are you talking about as a Knick only? Because I was considering Amari as a player, like top 5.
I'm just talking about Knicks' career.
Okay. All right. So then that's a fair argument. I still think I'd give it to Amari. I mean, I remember he was like breaking records of the most 20 points games in a row.
Yeah, but just didn't have any success. Yeah, and I don't put that on him. Yeah. He was an MVP before the Melo trade, MVP candidate before the Melo trade. And it was like his last good years of the knees. I just if you really look back to 99, Ewing gets hurt
Oh yeah.
which opens the door for Camby, who was just in the playoffs was all over the place. So I put Marcus 2, and obviously, if anyone doesn't have Patrick Ewing number 1,
I put
You
Patrick
got problems.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that worked out perfect. Cool. Chat, feel free to give us your rankings on those. So let's jump in, guys. Let's see what we got coming up next.
Yep, let's do it.
All right. So we already talked about it. We got Toppin's back. We got RJ's back. Looking at other guys that came off protocol, looks like a lot of them are back that same night. So we might have those guys available tonight versus the Wizards. Wizards have lost 7 of the last 9. Drew, do you think we handle Beal, Kuzma, Dinwiddie? Do we get that W? What's it going to take?
I'm actually curious. I'm looking at the Wizards. Do they have anyone out? Sounds like they have KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's out on health and safety protocols. Rui Hachimura, has he been playing at all?
No, he's out for I think personal reasons. I believe.
It sounds like that. Yeah. So Knicks out is God. Wait a second, guys. I don't see Obi Toppin back. It says, at least on the injury report that I'm looking at right now, maybe it just hasn't been updated.
I don't think it's been updated. He cleared protocol yesterday. Doesn't mean he's going to play. But he definitely cleared yesterday. RJ definitely cleared today. So I guess technically they can play. The question is, how are they feeling, and do they have their wind, and are they ready to go?
There? Yeah.
Now, and the Wizards, I remember like early in the season, I was shocked how the Wizards were performing. They had a very impressive record. Now they're 16 and 15. I think like Jerry said, that is that is going to be one of the teams we're battling for a spot. There's no doubt about it. We need Randall to come through. I mean, this is a backcourt heavy team, like a wing heavy team in terms of like where they get their points from. So, I think we're going to need our big guys to really step up in this game. God, I mean, I don't know who knows what we're going to get from RJ, who knows what we're going to get from OB. Listen, they're young kids. They could probably bounce back pretty quickly. It's not like we're looking at it's not like we're looking at, a Derrick Rose 10 days in the bed and then having to hop out and play. We're looking at 2 young kids with jets that can come out and bounce back quickly. But, we're definitely thin, man. We are definitely thin.
I'm gonna make a prediction.
Yeah.
So we know that RJ started off the year hot, and then he fell off a cliff shooting percentage wise. You're always still going to get the effort from him defensively, and we certainly could use him tonight, even if he's at 80%, to just give us some minutes to run after Beal and Dinwiddie, Dinwiddie, I'm so impressed with Dinwiddie. That was really a guy I wanted the Knicks to go after, and I think there was a chance they could have maybe had him. I'm not sure. So RJ could definitely help us, but my prediction is this sort of COVID reset that hit the Knicks, and that's hitting every team. I'm not making light and saying good things could come out of any of this, but I think the time away for good reason is going to help RJ. Talk about like being able to clear all that, because he might have been in his head a little bit. I'm not trying to equate myself to an NBA player, but there's times even when I was a kid and you play, that feeling when it's like you just feel like you can't make a shot, and you're catching the ball, and in your mind you're literally saying, God, I hope I don't miss, and you're usually going to miss. I think this might have reset a little bit for him, and I think he's going to, whenever he gets back on the court, I think he's going to start putting up some of those numbers we saw in the first 2 weeks.
So I'm actually I completely also agree on the Dinwiddie side too, though. Dinwiddie is super impressive. He's good. He's a good ball player. I think we all forgot how good he was because he was out all year last year. But he's a ball player. I'm looking at their team right now. They are just so wing heavy. Kyle Kuzma, Dinwiddie, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bradley Beal, Denny Avdija, whatever how you pronounce his name. They are just such a wing heavy team. I don't even know who their starting point guard is. Who's their start? Is it Aaron?
I think it's Dinwiddie.
Might be Aaron Holiday even. I don't even know. Is it Dinwiddie plays point? No, he's a small forward.
No, Dinwiddie's a ball handler. I mean, he's 6'7". He's like a legit 6'7". So he could play anywhere, but that's the thing. If you kind of get out of traditional positions, which I think the Wizards are one of those teams where it's not, okay, you're the point guard, you bring the ball up, because we'll see Beal bring the ball up. I think that you just classify Dinwiddie as a wing ball handler.
Yeah, I don't think they actually have a natural point guard from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It's the two assist leaders on the team are Beal and Dinwiddie.
Yeah.
So, and those are both natural shooting guards, small forward players. Let's call them, they are natural shooting guards. Let's call it that. So they don't really have a one point guard. It's probably what they're missing. It's probably, I mean, that's where I guess the John Wall gap is. You know what I mean? That's what they lost there. They never really filled that role.
And Thomas Bryant's big out for them. Thomas Bryant's good and Rui's good as well. So Wizards are, I like that roster a lot.
There's some pieces there. I don't know if it's the most complementary team. I don't know if they fit perfectly, but there are a lot of nice little pieces there that I wouldn't be shocked if they have the assets to make a trade or do something in that world. What's the game after the Wizards?
We've got our Christmas game. So here's my question for the Christmas game. We're already getting smacked around by COVID. Does Trey come and play the Grinchmas and steal Christmas from us?
Well, we don't know if Trey's going to play, right?
Not only that, they put an article out 2 hours ago that there's talks of the Hawks-Knicks game being postponed.
Yeah, because Trey is still in protocol. Capella is in protocol. Gallinari is in protocol.
We've got our 5 guys in protocol.
We got our 5. I mean, you might be able to make a roster out of both teams. You might be able to get 12 guys out there to play.
Wait, so hold on real quick. Is our roster, our guys, would they be back by that game? Because if that's the case, we'll have a major.
You're busy.
We'll have a major.
RJ and Toppin by then should be active and ready to go.
The other guys,
I don't know.
They have to still clear, and they have to have 2 negative tests before we even know if they'll be back in time.
Who? The other guys?
Any of the other guys? Yeah.
Yeah. So, who knows? But yeah, I mean, the Hawks. That was and look, as much as you could say, oh, great, play the Hawks without Trey, Capella, and Gallinari. I get it. I'm the first guy who says get a win where you can get a win. But man, the Christmas Day game, which is a game that I used to go to, I went to a Christmas Day Knicks game 6 years in a row. It's even when the teams were not expected to win, and I was really excited about this game. So I mean, who knows? It's still a chance that we could get some negative tests, and I would love to see both teams close to full strength, even if it equals a Knicks loss. I want Trey in the Garden, man. I want him there. He deserves to be there.
Yeah, dude, it's
100%.
Trey's our modern day Reggie Miller.
Yeah, for sure.
There was nothing I looked forward to more than when Reggie would come to town. I'd be, for me, I'm sitting there. I felt like Spike Lee was me. I'm just showing all the emotion there. Dude, I love to see that. I love the Trey Young kind of role that he plays as the villain in the Garden, and he plays it well. So it's a great matchup if both teams are healthy. It's a perfect Christmas Day game. Just the energy of the arena, of the kind of the rivalry that's starting to form between the two teams. They actually match up very well. I thought they were better than us last year, but I thought the matchups were really very well matched up. If you see position to position, obviously I think that that Trey is the difference as a superstar, because he is the only superstar in that game, in my opinion, on both teams. But position by position, I thought those teams really match up well. I would have loved to see them all healthy, but I'll also very happily take Trey and the rest of those guys being out and us having our guys in and take a W.
They are talking about postponement, though, right? Is that what you're saying?
They are.
I thought saw that. Yeah.
3 articles now, and the last one was an hour ago. And that they're not sure if that's because Knicks haven't announced. They announced 2 that came off protocol, but there's speculation that there might be 1 or 2 people that added to protocol. So if that's the case, and then you got Atlanta adding more to protocol, who the heck are you starting? Who are you playing? We don't get our Christmas game. It's so hard.
Houston.
Yes, make it happen, Jerry.
Allen Houston. Bang.
Guys, it's so hard. I mean, with COVID and everything, to even predict the future, right? We can't even really sit there and say, yeah, that's a W for us, or that's going to be a tough one, because we have no idea with any team we're up against. Because after that, we've got the Timberwolves.
I mean, it's not just basketball here. It's also like I'm in the fantasy football semifinals, and I heard I just lost Eckler yesterday. So I'm just like, that's like demoralizing. That's nowhere.
Off topic, but on topic. COVID has also made me realize something. I am officially, and this is sad to announce, but I am retired in full from fantasy football.
Oh no, why?
It's gone. It's dumb.
It's dumb.
It's officially dumb. I lost all 3 leagues to I played the kicker in all 3 leagues who had 24 points. I'm losing defenses. I had McCaffrey for 2. I'm out. I'm going to take gambling is legal now in New York. As a fellow Degen, it's coming to Ohio. It's coming everywhere. I would like to take the resources I put into fantasy football, which is some resources, folks.
Yeah.
And I would rather take that money and just bet props like a true Degen and not just be like, oh, well, I'm stuck with Christian McCaffrey.
Here's the good news, Jerry. We do have this team that we'll be able to run, draft, and call plays for in a couple months.
I'm in.
We don't need fantasy when the
I'm
FCS
out. I'd much rather be a
good.
part of the draft. I'm a part of the Knicks gaming draft process in the front office. I'd love to yes, it's so much fantasy football is not going anywhere. Drew, I wish you the best of luck, but it's too randomized. I mean, COVID, I know, has a lot to do with it, but I just can't do it.
There's no doubt COVID is absolutely derailing teams right now.
Oh, yeah.
I made a quick moves. I picked up Justin Jackson to come in from Eckler, and I came in and I scooped up. I scooped up who's Fournette's backup.
Ronald Jones, who's a very trendy pick. Yeah, he's the pick of the week for sure.
So luckily I saved a lot of my bidding money for these last few weeks, and I just went ham this week. But yeah, I'm into some railroading injuries.
I'm out. Just gonna be sitting at a tavern gambling like a true degenerate.
Jigga, what you got, baby?
Well, I want to talk about the Timberwolves game.
They're
another one, as of this week, had 5 players that were added on the COVID list.
Sure.
So again, another team that had, it looks like they have them that they're slated to whoop up on us. Do we have our guy? If everything goes with protocol, we have our guys back by the 28th.
This is a very winnable stretch. Hawks we talked about with Wizards Hawks is the first kickoff to a very big stretch. We got to get one no matter what, but gosh, if we could get both. Then we got Wolves, winnable.
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't want to jump ahead too far. Thunder, cannot lose to the Thunder. And then we got the Raptors, who we owe. The Raptors have smacked us around 2 games. We owe the Raptors a beatdown. So this is a big stretch that would propel us right back into the 6 seed madness.
Yeah, agreed.
It's critical. It's after this stretch, it's another tough one too. So we got to take care of business here. Even if it's just to put us in a nice, at the end of the day, again, we don't think we have a championship team here. I think we're all in agreement. This is not a contending team. Now, either we know that they're going to either make a move, or we're going to have, I want that intense fight for a playoff spot basketball. I'll take that. Listen, as a 20-year losing Knicks fan, I take what I can get, and fighting for a playoff spot is fun as hell basketball. I take that any day of the week. So as long as we're in the running, there's nothing worse as a Knicks fan, truly. I watch every single game. I'm the kind of person that DVRs Summer League. I enjoy Knicks basketball. I look forward to it. It's like an escape for me. This is there's nothing worse than playing useless games at the end of the year. It's just games that matter, that don't even matter. You stop watching because it's just not fun. The players don't care. The team doesn't care. I just said I want us to play meaningful basketball, even if it's competing for an 8th seed. And wait, the playoff, did anything change this year with playoffs again? Is it
top 6 and then 7 plays 10?
Yeah, that's the difference.
9,
that's a big thing, and that's a one game. That's a one game.
That's
playoff.
The one. That's a one game situation. I think it was different in summer and when in the bubble. I think it was the higher seed only had to win once. The lower seed had to win 2 out of 3 or something, or twice. Yeah, and then it goes back to tradition. That sets the 7 and the 8 seed. So theoretically, the 7 and 8 seed could be from the 9 and 10 spot if the underdogs, so to speak, win. So you really just want to be a top 10 team because We want to be in those playing games, but you know, if you want to secure we're getting at least 4 games. You want to be a 6 seed.
No, I hear you. I'm definitely with you.
Fair. All right. So before we end the show, guys, let's jump into All right. So we touched on it a little bit before. Drew, hot or not, RJ comes back in full effect. Nice little break. He comes back and puts up the numbers we saw him put through that little stretch.
I mean, I don't have any evidence to say. It's hard to say. I think he'll probably be rusty. I'm going to go with not. I think he's going to be a little rusty. I think there's just so much movement and changes in lineups. It's not like he's coming back in to this cohesive unit that and this cohesive squad that he can fit right back in. Do I want him to be hot? Yes. Are my expectations that he's going to come in and light it up? Probably not.
All right, Jerry.
I'm going hot. I said it a little earlier. I think this was a time off period. Obviously, again, you hope first and foremost, healthy. That being said, I think mentally, I think RJ is the kind of guy that breathes basketball. I think he's going to come back like a demon. Okay. And I think maybe he's forgotten about some of the stuff he might have been in his head about with the jump shot. So I think he comes back blazing, and I really hope it's tonight, because we could also really use him chasing around Beal and Dinwiddie, and it would just be such a huge help right now to get RJ back.
Sure.
So hot.
Nice. Hot or not, Jerry, Tibbs making up with Kemba and praising him out loud to build that relationship back up.
I'm going to say not, because I listen, I don't know 1% of what Tibbs knows about basketball, right? Not a big shocker there. That being said, and I guess because it's New York, when you're going to bench a player, you have to get out in front of it with a press cut. I just feel like if it wasn't even the Knicks, they would have just it would have been a smaller story. I just hated how big of a story that it became. And I don't know if I agreed with the complete, you're on the bench, you're not playing. I think they could have said, we're going to scale down his minutes. And if he had some DNPs, fine. So if this, I say not, but if this has motivated Kemba to lock it, then great. Then I'm a fan of the move. But I say not, because I don't know if it should have been done this way.
I'm gonna take the other side. I'm going hot. I think that I think Tibbs loves his vets. I think he just lost his guy D Rose. I think he's gonna be kissing Kemba's feet to come back. I think he needs that veteran leadership in the backcourt. I think he knows that's where Tibbs feels comfortable. He doesn't feel Tibbs. It is uncomfortable for Tibbs to play young ball players. He just it's not natural for him. It feels almost forced. And he knows what he's going to get with Kemba, and I think that could put him in a more comfortable spot. I think he's going to be building up Kemba quite a bit after this week injury for D Rose.
All right, so that leads me to my next hot or not, because a lot of the rumors and speculations over the last 7 days. Kemba comes in, he plays hot. Not happy about the benching the way it was. Are we hot or not on the rumors that Fournier and Kemba can be the main trade pieces to go get something else? Jerry, hot or not on the trade rumors?
Not. I just, what is it? What? I mean, I say not, but yeah, I guess there are some pieces, but we're not getting an all-star back. We're not it's going to be more pieces. It's going to be the Covington. I don't think it's going to be some major thing that makes all the difference from where we're at right now. And Kemba is playing well right now. Obviously, we don't know physically if he holds up. I'm a believer in Kemba, even if it's in a much smaller way than what he once was. And with Fournier, bottom line is Fournier is a really good player. If he could just get consistent, because we've seen when he gets hot, he's the exact player the Knicks need, but we got to see it for more than 2 games in a row. And
yeah, it's 2 on, 3, 4 off.
Yeah, and that's really the difference. So, I'll make the bet with that, because I don't know what we're pulling back. So it's hard to say. I say not for right now, but if you can get me Buddy Hield, we're talking. But I don't think that gets it done. I don't think the Kemba part of it doesn't move the needle.
Yeah, see, the rumors are over the next 3-4 games. If Kemba and Fournier stay hot, Does it build value? Does it make it that they're good pieces to go, even with a possible draft pick along with it, to get somebody important? Hey, that's why they're rumors, right? I spread the news, all right? I don't make it up.
I feel like Drew started that rumor.
I'm
Yeah,
hot.
let me go find out the source.
I'm so hot. I keep, dude. Every time that Fournier hits a jumper right now, all I keep thinking is like cha-ching, trade value, cha-ching, trade value. So like, I listen. I think that a contending team that wants two veteran scorers that are capable playing minutes and being able to contribute to a championship run are gonna be willing to give up on someone who, for us, could be a much more meaningful player. Now I don't know. Again, like there's a lot of weird situations out there. You know where I think about the Sixers. I think the Sixers are in a tough spot in a contending league. They're a contending team. They have Simmons just sitting there waiting. I think that like having some veteran leadership around the team is going to, and that could spread the court and give Embiid more room. I just don't see it as a bad thing. They don't have JJ Redick anymore. We got to remember that. Like they lost their Redick, and Fournier could fill that Redick spot real well.
Okay, I'm gonna breathe some life into this situation, and I think is never going to happen. And here's the life I will breathe. I will breathe into it. If I was Daryl Morey, who he has literally said, I will wait another year if I have to before any. Okay, now if I am willing to pack it in this season and say, you know what, this season's a wrap. It's unfortunate. The only reason why the Knicks, the thing you just pitched, would be of interest to me. And it's not because of Kemba Walker, and it's not because of Evan Fournier. It's because if you could get 3 first-round picks from the Knicks, let's be honest, Ben Simmons hasn't played basketball in what feels like 10 years. That trade will probably knock the Knicks into the lottery. Facts. Ben Simmons not going to come right in, suit up, and lead us to the playoffs. It's not going to happen. The guy hasn't played a professional game in a very long time. That trade would theoretically knock the Knicks into the lottery, maybe this year and beyond. So I think if you're Morey, yeah, you're getting Kemba, you're getting Fournier. Maybe they help you make a run this year. But I also think you might be getting like a top 5 pick next year. So for that, I would say maybe if you're willing to punt on this year and you have a top 5 pick coming your way next year, because we will be bad if we made that trade.
So I don't see it. I see that. I think Simmons he's a star in this league. Let's be real. He's a star. He's an all NBA defensive team, like #1 defensive team in a Thibodeau style team. You put some, like, does it fill our gap on the scoring side? No. So we do need that scoring shooting guard still, but we do know
shrinks the floor even more.
We have Quickly, who can spread the court out to the half court line. Quickly and Simmons is not a terrible backcourt to then you didn't even touch your front line. Now you got Quickly, Simmons, and you got RJ, Randall, and Mitch. I'll take Quickly and Simmons over Fournier and
I hear you, but
honestly, we don't have the room at the end on our bench to be picking up more draft picks. Like I think we get rid of our draft picks this year for sure and get a good player. Like we still have 2 draft picks from last season that cannot find minutes, that are both first-round picks, that are both very.
I don't know. I think Grimes was about to find minutes. He got COVID. He started the game, got 27. I think he was about to take some of those, like we talked in the last show.
We really got him because of COVID also.
Right, and because of the Kemba benching. He was the one that stood to take, and now Rose is out. Like the door is actually open for these draft picks whenever they get healthy. I just look. I think that.
So you're not big on Simmons. You're not bullish on Simmons.
I would do that if I could do that trade. I would tomorrow. But just know that is not taking us to any promised land in the next 2-3, like maybe in 3 years. Definitely not this year. Definitely not next year. But maybe the year after that with some other free agents. Then and Simmons actually showing that he wants to play ball and wants to be a part of an offense. Like then we're in business, and that's fine for the Knicks because I think we're on that path anyway. So I would do it, but.
Makes sense.
I was only making the argument that the only reason why I could even see Philly talking to the Knicks
I agree with that.
is because they believe that their draft picks in the next 2 years will be like high lottery picks.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that Simmons, and we don't know this because he's not posted Instagram videos, at least not from what I've seen, but like there's a strong possibility he's been working on his jumper the entire year.
We've been saying this every offseason.
Right? Like he's got to be doing something with it. Like he's spending all his time sitting there. You're telling me he's just not sitting there throwing up 1,000 jumpers a day?
You know what? With the way the world is right now, nothing surprises me anymore. If Simmons came in next year and shot 39% from three, I wouldn't even be shocked. How can we be surprised at anything right now? Can't be surprised at anything.
All right, so I'm gonna give you guys one more hot or not before we wrap up.
Sure.
Hot or not that COVID has caused us to see the flaws in Tibbs' game management when it comes to playing players on the roster. And examples.
I'm going
Kemba benching. Examples. Minutes that should be spread differently amongst different guys, younger guys. Has COVID forced us to look at Tibbs and say maybe he is not managing it the way he should be when it comes to that rotation?
I'm going to say not, only because, like, this is what he did last year, and it worked. And obviously, you know, he's trying to do it again. And before the COVID outbreak in the NBA, the team was not doing it. So I don't know if it's fully on him, you know, after 25 games to be like, okay, this doesn't work anymore. I think COVID's forced him to do that. But also, it's so crazy. Like, I don't know if you can really use this as a metric for anything.
I'm going the opposite again, Jerry.
Drew, we're doing first take now, Drew. It's turned into first take. We don't agree on anything.
Not intentional. So part of me is thinking to myself, listen, I think there is something to be said for the fact that we play Randall 41 minutes a game. We play, you know, Burks and all these guys 35, 40 minutes a game. And then when injuries hit and when COVID hits, we have an entire younger unit that we have not given any burn to and seen them really get play and seen them work their way, like have some experience coming into a situation like this. I think that, like, in these kind of situations, like I see it also with him, like when the game is out of hand, he waits till there's like a minute 30 left to the game to bring the young guys in. I'm like, dude, give them 7 minutes. Like, let them play a little bit. Like, give them the 7 minutes at an 18-point lead and challenge them to hold it. Like, so I do think this is kind of brought to my attention that, you know, Tibbs has got to be considerate, got to keep in the back pocket a little bit, that you've got to be developing the bench while playing the starters and figure out a better balance there instead of just pounding the starters into oblivion.
But do we not think that McBride's stint in the G League wasn't helpful? Like, he balled out in the G League, and the minute that, you know,
big believer in that. Actually, I'm a big believer that Knox should have been playing in the G League all year. I'm a big believer that McBride should be.
God, poor Knox. He was slated to get so many minutes last time. This would have been like
so sad for him. It really is. It's like that guy was like this was his perfect opportunity, and he was playing good ball too.
Well, I love the fact that we were able to have good cop, bad cop on each one of these hot or nots today. You guys are
not
killing my
planned.
segments today. I'm happy.
Not planned. We went full. That was a full Skip Bayless we just did. We just did a full Skip Bayless.
Beautiful. Man, well, guys, so excited that we were able to pull off our third episode of Bing Bong Knicks Nights here in the afternoon. I hope you guys have a freaking Merry Christmas. All the viewers, everybody, look forward to picking this thing back up next week and just killing it. Thanks for tuning in. And before we go, I'll give you guys the who's next one more time.
Happy holidays, Jerry. Happy holidays.
You two guys, go Knicks.